What's going on, guys? It's your man Chris is here back with another video. Today's going to be respect how to get anything you want out of life from astrology. How to get anything you want and to know what is going to happen to you and what you're going to get in life from astrology. Let's get right into this. First thing first, you need to understand is this: life is broken down into 12 parts. There's really only about 12 different parts, 12 different types, 12 different archetypes of people on this planet. And depending on which archetype you are, is going to affect you and your life around you. That's just to set the premises, but let's go into it right now. Respect. Respect. That's a word that we don't get to use a lot. What is respect? Respect is the ability. Respect is the ability for someone else to understand, empathize, see your point of view on how you think, how you talk, how you act, and be satisfied and be okay with that type of action that you do. This does not mean that they automatically will want to now do your action. How you walk will not be the way someone else walks. How you think will not be the way somebody else thinks. How you talk is not going to be exactly the same how somebody else talks. But when somebody respects you, they bare minimum understand that there is nothing wrong with what you do, how you do it, and how you think about it. They actually have a sense of like I said, understanding, a sense of camaraderie when this happens. And they're like, all right, okay, I now understand you move that way. There's no problem with that. But even though I myself personally may not move that way, I'm not going to now judge you for the way you move. I can now not try to belittle you, put you down because you walk this way, you talk this way, or you do certain actions. I myself may be against the actions that you do, but if respect is there, I understand why you do them. I might be completely against what you do and go out my way to stop you from doing what you're doing. But I myself understand why you do it. And understand, even though that I'm against you, I cannot necessarily say whatever you're doing is completely and utterly 100% out of my view, out of my perspective from understanding it. I can now look from my point of view that if I was in your shoes, I can understand why you're doing that. And I can understand that I would probably, if I was in your shoes, in your situation, would be doing the same thing. Why am I talking specifically today about respecting women? When it comes to women today, and I'm going to put in these specific brackets. If you got a woman that's under 30, no kids, and not yet married, if she's in a relationship, it counts. But not married. Even if she's engaged, it still counts of what I'm talking yet. Not married. This is what we're going to use as the bracket. Some women fall out of this category. Some women still fall out of the standards that I have set and still do what I say. But majority fall in this category. If you fall in that category I just mentioned, you will lose respect in a man if a man does not have certain things or a man does not have certain ways of acting. If a man does not have, in no particular order, a substantial amount of money, assets, and this can be they physically walk around with you, and when you're with them, you can see them dispensing a lot of amount of physical cash. They have a lot of credit cards, debit cards, swiping, physically spending cash. If they have a substantial amount of assets, they have very nice and luxurious cars, or a very nice, super luxurious car. They have their own home. They have very expensive clothing or very expensive accessories. For women under this bracket, that is an automatic tick for respect in the beginning. If they have game, which means the way that they carry themselves, the way that they walk, the way that they talk, turns a woman on. They know how to talk to a woman. They know how to play the game. They know how to get past rejections of a woman. These things can win respect in a woman's heart at the time, especially if she falls under this category. And I'll get to it later why. And the amount of women you already have available to you, the amount of women you have already available to you also plays a role, also plays a factor into these scenarios. If you are lacking in these three things, you do not have a substantial amount of money, you do not spit proper game to get a woman sexually turned on, or you do not have a substantial amount of women already at your beckoning and your call, your chances of being respected, thought of anything, drops significantly. Does this mean you will not get a woman? No, it does not. But if you end up getting a woman, she will mistreat you. She will mistreat you either by using you in all of your assets and resources, the little that you have, if you do not have an abundant amount, or in every interaction that she is with you, she will belittle you in any way that she can. She will flirt with other men while around you. She will go out her way in public, in social situations with family members, friends, whatever the case may be, to disrespect you, put you down. She will just do everything that she can to try to get the world to drag you down to a level that she has perceived in her mind that you should be at. If anyone in any situation that you know, even personally in your life, not even in her life, thinks of you at a higher regard for any reason, she will try to bring you down in front of those people and try to make everyone else see you on the level she now sees you at. And it does not matter. Remember the category I said: female under 30, no children, not married. All three of these factors, if she even has one of these three factors, it shifts. It can change the standard of what I'm setting. It can completely change it. These brackets that a majority of women already living today, especially in first world countries. But I'm starting to see it now in third world countries too. So it doesn't really matter any part of the world. Doesn't really matter any part of the world in this current day and era. Will be like this. I am not saying this is a good or bad thing. I'm just stating it how it is. I will get to why later. Stay with me here. Does not matter if they quote unquote come from a good home life. It does not matter if they have from a good community background, a good quote unquote social circle, a good religious background, or they didn't. They're from a bad family unit, they're from a bad neighborhood, doesn't matter. Regardless, the most Puritan of women or the most for the community type woman you may see, doesn't matter the range or spectrum, or she lands somewhere in the middle. All women who fall under the category I said think this way, and they can think this way from anywhere as early as 7 years old. 7 years old, depending on how they were brought up. It can be as young as 7 years old to as early as about 12, for anywhere from 7 to 12 in all reality. Now, you need to understand, why wouldn't a man have these things? Could be for a plethora of reasons. One simple reason, they are working to get to that point where they can have one of these three things, if not all of these three things. And it's not necessarily needed to have all of these three things. You must have one of these three things. Same way in my category list for the women, it does not matter if a woman has all of these three things, married, over 30, or that she does not have any of all of these three things to fall out of the category. You only really need one. But you must have a substantial amount of that one that it overtakes the other two. But there is a loophole, there is a solution that will get you out of it. Another thing, you must understand, what does the man value? What does the man value? We live in a society today that values men with an exuberant amount of money. You go to education, you go to pre-K to university, education to get a high paying job, to learn how to start a business, to join certain groups that will put you in a position to make a substantial amount of income. That's why I put it first, but again, in no particular order. We live in a society that puts income at the front of the face. We live in a society that favors, promotes, pushes through the media, which is could be the TV, ads, music. It is popular currently to this day that you have a certain talk, a certain look, a certain disposition when you are interacting with women. It is favorable today in a specific genre. For example, hip hop, hip hop, more accurately, that you must have a certain look, certain style, certain way of being that is favored. And if you do not fall into this certain way of speaking and talking, people will lose interest. It does not get views. It does not get attention. It does not. It does not stimulate current societal standards of wants and needs. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. And finally, if you do not have women already available to you, this society also pushes. Even though you may find backlash from certain people about this last statement, it's still true, and still people would have to fight to change this standard if they're truly about fighting to change the standard or not. It's still a standard at the end of the day. The more women you have available to you when you're in this bracket, the more women come to you or value you, period. The more women you have available to you, the more women that are available to your area, available to you, will automatically social proof to other women that you are somebody who is valued. That is the case. That is the case. And again, if you do not have these things, your woman will use you for the little assets and resources that you have, or belittle you, belittle you, belittle you, and cause you nothing but pain and misery for the rest of your days. For the rest of your days. This does not change. This does not change. This is not a good or bad thing. I am not advocating for this to be a good thing. I'm not advocating that this is a bad thing. This is how it is. That is the first thing you must understand. This is how the world works. And once you can accept that, if you are going through said difficulties as a man, this first video is going to be how do you win back that respect if you want it, and go about your way. But reasons why men will not like that. Just because society is pushing for these things, money, a certain way of acting and living your life, a certain lifestyle, and gaining for an exuberant amount of women, does not mean those are the only things that are available in this life, and that does not mean those are the only things that matter in this life. What other things men can pursue? The pursuit of education, the pursuit of higher knowledge, the pursuit of understanding the world around you. For example, men can go into pursuits of literature, writing, broadcasting, storytelling, journalism, things that can progress the society forward. Men can go into fields of science, physiology, anatomy, cosmic study, cosmos study. They can go into technology, fields like this, things that define what we already use everything today. We are on, for example, the internet. We're on computers. We are on mini computers on our hands, cell phones. These are things that everybody use every day. Most people, especially in first world countries, can't really live without, and is what business owners and societies are now pushing towards using more. Pushing towards using more. These are things that define our society, but we're not necessarily told to push for it. You're not necessarily told to push before becoming a scientist if you were to follow the media. If you were to follow trends, if you were to follow famous people, if you were to follow the most known people and followed people and highly regarded people in society, they are in fields that require talent per se. Acting, physical activity, sports, um, diplomacy, government, mainly these three categories. Media to be seen in your face, physical activity that can be shown off, or or political ability, diplomacy of certain means and manners, government, politics, military or affairs. These are what are talked about and these people are pushed the most. You don't really hear or see media stories pushing for what a scientist has done, what a reporter has found out, what an archaeologist may have found out. You will now hear more stories about tech giants, for example, the Bill Gates, Elon Musk, because those are people who have used their skill in their craft, which now brings me into my next point. These are people that use their skill in their craft to now leverage into one of the main three things I told you about. These tech giants who focus on the internet, making your phones, making your TV, all of these things, your cars that you buy, these are all things that would fall into the money category. These are all things that will fall into the money category. They have a substantial amount of income, and because they make a substantial amount of income, they are regarded for that. They are not necessarily highly regarded for the fact of what they accomplished through their technological means. Most of these people are not even scientists in themselves. They're more businessmen with at one point in time a particular skill in probably computer work, but have shifted away to be more business oriented, be more money oriented. But you see, no matter what route you go down, if you do not fall into one of these three categories, if you not gain the ability to have any of these three categories, income, the way you carry yourself, the way you look, the way you talk, if you do not conform to what is societally accepted as this type of individual is the type of individual that should be getting women. This is the type of individual that should be getting respect, or you do not already have a plethora of women at your disposal, which would have to come through one of the two means that I've already listed before. Those are the only two ways. By default, society would have to see you as not respectable. Society has to deem you as not valuable. They would have to deem you as not valuable. So even though you may be in these other pursuits, education, science, mathematics, and still even technology, you will not be deemed valuable for the most part. Does this mean you are out of luck? Does this mean you are not out of luck? No. If you can achieve a certain level of status based on these three categories I told you already in your own society, in your own little social structure, in your own little town, if you only live in a small town, for example, if you live in a small town, for example, you finish your education, you graduate, you become a doctor in that town, you technically made it. You don't necessarily need to be known across the world. You don't technically need to be the most known face on the world relative to where you live in the society where you live, where everybody basically knows of each other, knows where each other stay. You do something. People know you for something. You have established something. You have established a field that is highly regarded and respected, and fields that are highly regarded and respected tend to make more income. You may necessarily say it's not because of the income, but highly regarded fields. Like I've already stated, the most highly regarded fields tend to be lumped in with the amount of money that you make. And you will be regarded and known if you will ever make it to the highest level, whether you want to or not. If you strike fame, strike gold with your content, if you strike fame, strike gold with your educational pursuits, they will automatically say XYZ person has made XYZ amount of money. They will not focus on the fact that you've made the discovery. That will not alarm people. It is the amount of money you have generated from that discovery that will alarm the people. You cannot escape it. You cannot escape it. Money has an inherent tie to value. Money, currency, has an inherent tie to what is considered valuable. Money, currency, your assets, your assets. What do you own? What do you physically own? The quality of what you physically own, the amount of the things that you own is innately, inherently tied to value and what is considered valuable. And this has been the case throughout all of human existence. You're not going to escape that. First, you must understand how it is. So now you must choose. But this puts people in a predicament. If you just want to be a regular individual who likes what you like, do what you do, maybe you're into video games, maybe you're into detective shows, maybe you're into firefighter work, maybe you're just into a regular craft, and you want to find an individual woman and you want the same amount of respect or even a portion of the amount of respect that somebody who's in these other fields will get, you're not going to get it. You are not going to get it. Especially if you do not get it. Especially if you do not get it from a woman that is in your, what you would consider your class. If you can tell, and men, you can tell this easily, if a woman dresses nicer than you, has more accessories than you, has a nicer car than you, she makes more money than you, that's an automatic. You will be disrespected for that. Automatic. We're not even going to debate that. Men, you can tell just by looking at a woman, she makes more money than you. Men are money focused, oriented more than women. We live in a society now where women are making more money or getting more opportunities to make more money. Men focus more on valuables, possessions, and items than women, period. Women focus more on assertiveness, dominance, how one carries themselves more, period. Men will automatically realize who or what has more money than them in an instant. It's not hard. You will immediately know that. And women will automatically see from a man how a man carries himself, how another woman carries herself, instantly. That is how we are designed. That's what we do. But this can cause problems nowadays because most men are not taught this in society. We are not taught these things in society. You are put into a situation through schooling, through watching the media, through watching people who already having these things, pushing and promoting these things. You are subconsciously, or what they call subliminals being shot out. Not necessarily just in a social interaction, but subliminals being shot out through media interactions, through the TVs, media, all of that I've already said. Because at the end of the day, you got to realize these are people making these ads. These are people putting out these billboards. These are people playing these sports. They're people just like you. The rules don't change just because it's on a screen now. Somebody, some human, some person made the program. Some person made the algorithm. Some person made the electronic that put it on the screen, that put it on the billboard, that mass produced the phone in your hand. It was a person who did that. People. Just because you're not directly seeing that person doesn't mean there was no human interaction there. There was. There still is. You cannot throw it out your mind. Oh, it's this. People did that. Somebody just like you did that. Just because you went here and they went there does not mean that's not a human interaction. They focus on this branch, they went here, you focus on that branch in your life, and you went there. You did this for society, they did that for society. They can rely on you for this, you can rely on them for that. People, society, human nature, not gonna change. You gotta stop separating things. You gotta come to a realization. You're just people. We're people, people to people. It's a business strategy, person to person. It's not person to business, business to business. You gotta understand this is people working with people. Just indirectly, we have the ability to go worldwide with it. Respect. People who grew up in this culture and society, who learn better, who understand better when they're explicitly told, when they're explicitly told, you should act this way, you should do this, you should be like that, we all should aim to be like this. Don't get it first off, because again, you will never find anyone anywhere in society who is famous in your schooling system, who teaches the subjects, anywhere in the books written by people just like you. You will never ever find anywhere where someone will say explicitly, you will act this way, you will do this, you will do that. This is how society should be. They tried that already back in the early 1900s, but that was during the time of dictators, world leaders, government powers. Thinking and writing like that and putting that in the school system and putting that in society was banned all outright because it led to World War One, it led to World War Two, and it led to a couple more wars after that. Society does not like to push anymore. This is how you should be. This is how you should act. But you know what they did? Because it didn't change. People didn't change. People just changed how they did it. Instead of explicitly telling you through the school systems, through the books that you read, through the curriculum that they put in your face, this is how you should, they subliminally put in the news, in the media, in the TV shows, we're going to promote this individual. We're going to promote this piece of music. We're going to promote this politician. We're going to promote this. In again, promote. We're going to put our money behind people that we like, people that we agree with. So if you're a business person with money, if you're a business person with game, if you're an individual who's already liked because they have game, if you're an individual that's already liked because they have multiple women available to them and more people gravitate to them for any reason, you're going to promote people that are like you. You're going to promote people that have your your benefits at heart. Nobody's going to promote somebody that doesn't have their best interest in heart. It just makes sense. This is not a good thing or a bad thing. This is how it works. And it just makes sense. Why would you promote somebody that does not have your interest in heart? You wouldn't do that. So the people who are already winning, the people who are already being favored, are just going to keep pushing and promoting and putting their money behind industries, businesses, talents, curricular activities of people that they see are more like them to keep themselves doing the things that they got to do. And that's not necessarily the bad thing. If you're winning, if you are winning, if you are winning, why would you automatically let yourself lose? Why would you let yourself lose? Why would you put your situation to lose and from that loss not know if you will ever come back to win again? You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't throw your home away, throw your assets that you worked hard for your entire life to maintain in the garbage for no reason, just to let somebody else have it who didn't work as hard as you or is doing something that you don't like. You wouldn't do that. It just makes sense. It's how the world is. But for people who do not learn this way, because again, remember, like I told you, back in the early 1900s and even in the 1800s to some extent, people did directly try to promote their ways of living and being by directly telling you you should act this way, you should be this way, you should think this way about people who don't think like us. They used to do that. We don't do that anymore. So now how they do it, they don't tell you directly out like, we like this person, we don't like this person. They just show you, oh, this type of music, this type of industry, this type of business that always gets the spotlight, that you always see on the news, that you will always see in during sports and games, getting the most views. People want to see it. We like it ourselves. We're just going to keep promoting it. We're not going to make a section for things people don't want to see, things people don't like, things we do not like. So we're not going to promote that. So by default, if it's the only thing you see, or if it's majorly the thing that you see, by default, you're going to like that thing. That's all you see, that's all you do, that's all you know, that's all you have been doing your entire life. Why would you start doing something else out of the random, out of the blue? Why would you? But not everybody learns that way. Some people, some people better learn when they are told explicitly, do this, do this, do this, do that. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. And for those people who did not get it, they will now walk out through life disfavored. They will now walk out through life disfavored. They will now walk out through life ridiculed, outcasted, feeling as if they are the problem because they will not be given the light of day by anyone. There might be exceptions to people in your immediate family, but they're kind of forced to like you because that's your immediate family. But even then, that's not even guaranteed, because we live in a society today that functional families are not being pushed for. Functional families are not worldwide being advocated for. They're just not. You're not seeing any more TV shows about functional families working out. There's always, that doesn't get more views because it's not right with society. You may see in more children TV shows a functional home, but more adult type TV shows you will see dysfunctional homes, dysfunctional relationships, and how they try to salvage it if it's a show about redeeming qualities. But even then, those are only a cream of the crop. They're not being highly promoted because people, when you get older, want to see things that more match your reality versus a quote unquote story narrative. That's just how the cookie crumbles. So your family is not even 100% guarantee in everyone's scenario. This is not a good thing. This is not a bad thing. It's just the way it is. So you must choose at this point if you're a man who falls into this category. You must choose at this point if you're a man who falls into this category. Do I now, after how many years, because if you are a man at this point, you're anywhere from 18 to 21 years old. If you are now legally considered a man in the country that you were born in, no longer a child, to the point where they can throw you in prison with other grown men much older than you. You can be charged with the same crimes of men just older than you. You're considered a man. Does not matter if you still live at home with your parents or not, or if you've been taking care of yourself since you turned the legal age in your country. Even before then, you're considered a man. What do you have to do at that point? If you do not already conform with how society has been pushing for you to conform, you make one of two options. You try to say, now that I realize what is going on, now that I realize this is how society in the world works, I can now try to conform to society. Or you could say, I'm going to stick to my guns and continue to be myself until I push a new plateau, push a new frontier that allows me to gain one of these three things that are needed to gain my respect. If we're talking specifically in this episode about with the female nature, female kind. But you run into a problem. By the time your brain as a man turns about 21 years of age, from 21 to 25, your habits, the way you talk, the way you speak, the way you walk has already been solidified. There's an old adage you're saying, by the time a child turns 7 years old, that child is going to be that same way for the entirety of their life. There's truth to that. Every 7 years, every cell in your body regenerates. You are not the same person you were when you were a baby. Every cell that you had in your body that came out of your mother from your birth is gone now. You only have copies of copies in your body. This is why you don't look the same way you do as a baby. This is why you grow as an individual and you don't stay the same weight and size as a baby your entire life. You are physically not the same person you were when you were born. Completely. You carry the same name, same address, same DNA structure, but it's expressed differently. You're different now. You're just a different person. But you know what stays the same as you go through those years? How you act, how you were taught, how you see and perceive the world. Those things stay the same. You may go on to become something or have a business that nobody thought you would have became. You may go on to be a well-renowned accountant. You may go on to become the president at your job firm. You may go on to become a famous sports star. Whatever the case may be, you'll still act the same in a conversation. You're still gonna laugh at the same jokes. You're still gonna feel the same way you do about certain topics, certain things that you eat, certain foods that you like. Those things don't change unless you get into a drastic accident that causes you to lose your memory or something. But unless it's like an extreme scenario like that, the way you act stays the same. How you express yourself as a person stays the same. And by the time you hit 21 years of age, you're going to basically be that way. You're still going to think that way. You've kind of hardened in your life. That's around the time when you really decide this is what you want to do with your life. This is the direction you're going to go. This is the job you're going to type of keep. All of these things. These are going to be the things that you're going to like to talk about basically for the rest of your life. And if not by 21, 28 to 30, the latest. That's when life says you're done. You're done. 28 to 30, the latest. Get your life in order. You're done. This is just how it's going to be. There's no more growing anymore. You're just going to maintain like this, and then you're going to get to a point where you go downhill from here, and you're going to be closer to the way out the door of life than you were the way in it. So when you try to now conform to be like everybody else's inside, basically impossible at this point. Basically impossible at this point. And if you try to force yourself, people can see that. If you're trying to force yourself to be something that you're not, people can see that because you just move awkwardly when you try to be like everybody else. You just act awkwardly. It just doesn't work out. And it doesn't get you the results that you think you should be getting. If you think you can just realize one day, oh my gosh, I should have liked basketball. I should have liked sports. I should have liked gaming with women. That's cool. You didn't build up the skill for it. If you think you want to become a 21-year-old just starting out person to learn basketball and join the NBA, good luck. Never going to happen. If you didn't start 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, by the time you were 7, go to basketball camp and all of that, those would have increased your chances, but it wouldn't even necessarily guarantee you would have gotten into the league. So if you want to start at 21 to now try gaming, you want to start at 21 to now try getting tattoos, dye your hair, talking with a different aspect or something, good luck. Good luck. Not gonna work out. Not gonna work out. It's not gonna work out for you. And even though you can work and do a plethora of things over a difficult and long period of time to get some results, it won't last. It won't last. Does this mean that you cannot find the woman and the respect that you're looking for? No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean that you won't find it. And how? How? This is where it comes in. You got to know your astrology. You got to know where you stand in life, how this universe around you works for you, who you really are as a person. You can tell and see in your birth chart how much success you will have with women throughout your life. You can tell and see in your birth chart how much success you will have, period, and when you will be successful. You can see that. Most astrologers won't tell you that because most astrologers don't know how to do it. But it's possible. You can honestly see when you're going to have successful women, and you can honestly see when you will be in the range of time. This is when you're going to find that woman that will be for you. You can see those things. Those things can come to you. It will also tell you what you should be focusing on in life. It should be telling you in general, if you've been following your dreams and trying to become a professional sports person, trying to be a basketball player, football player, baseball player, and you've never gotten the success that you wanted, you can look in your birth chart and see this was not the area in life that God picked for me to be successful in. You can save so much time trying to waste your time following a path that wasn't for you, and finally get on the path you were supposed to quicker than you would have. Some people will spend 40, 50 years doing something that they really weren't supposed to be doing to finally change. You can cut that time in half if you just know how to look at your birth chart and read your astrology. Examples. I'm going to give you examples so you understand, using basic fundamental astrology and using oppositions. Those are the opposites of each other in chart. All right. If you're an Aries rising, your opposite is Libra. Your opposite is the person you're supposed to be with, your wife. If you're an Aries rising, you're automatically a person who's going to be more militant. You might work as a cop. Well, if you're an Aries rising, you might be a landlord, a business owner, things like that. But in your life, you're going to be more of a cop. You're going to be more of a hunter, somebody who likes to do more physical activities in their life, period. Your partner is not going to be someone who's more of a Taurus, someone who could be more about value, possessions, materialistic things. That's not necessarily going to be who you're going to be with. That is what you value, but that's not going to be who you be with. Your wife, your partner is going to be a Libra. Is going to be a Libra. Is going to be somebody who is more political, somebody who's more about balance, somebody's more about order in their life. This is something that you're not necessarily good at. This can be a benefit to you, or this can be against you. But you're going to know for a fact that there is somebody for you, or there is somebody that will give you what you're looking for in your life. If you're a Taurus rising, you're somebody who's more concerned about valuables, morals, money, possessions, things like that. You have money to your name. You're slower when it comes to getting valuables, land, assets. Your partner is going to be somebody who is a Scorpio, opposite of you. Your partner is going to be somebody who's more protective, secretive, and it makes sense. If you have land, if you have something valuable, people are going to want what is valuable from you. Most of your partners that you had in your life that didn't work out are going to be people who try to take your valuables away from you. Your partner is going to be someone who trusts, who is going to protect your valuables. They're going to be very passionate. They're going to have a lot of power, because you're going to need power to protect what is yours. Gemini, you are an intellectual person. You're a person who likes to speak, get the message out there. You might be more of a writer. You might be more of a journalist. You might be more of an MC. You may even be a rapper for a case. You're a person who likes to spread the message. Your person that you're going to be with, your wife, is going to be more an educator, a teacher, someone who has the ability to teach other people. You like to speak on things that you know. Well, you're going to get with somebody who teaches a lot of things, because you can always get more information. to talk about whatever you need to talk about. They're going to be a teacher. They're going to be merciful. They're going to be the one who can tell you what is right from wrong. Because you may be talking about things, but you may say a lie by accident because you just didn't know. Because you just didn't know. But if somebody that can teach you the difference between this is the good thing, this is the bad thing, now you can speak about it more accurately. If you're a Cancer rising, you are going to be more home oriented. Your house. You're going to be more about your feelings, your emotions. You're going to be a more expressive, passionate type of person. You're going to be the type of person who wants to protect their children, who wants to protect their home life. And you're going to get with a Capricorn type of individual. That is who God has aligned you to be with. A Capricorn business is a landowner, business owner, landlord. They're hardened, they're disciplined, they're achieving. These are the people who achieve some of the most things in life. What you would call the GOAT is a Capricorn. You're going to need somebody who's going to achieve a lot to give you the home life that you want. If you have somebody who does not achieve a lot, someone that cannot generate business, somebody who is not successful in their field, you cannot have the home life that you want. You cannot have the life that you would wish to have for your children. When you have them, you will not be able to protect them if your home life is not secure. But you're going to need money. You're going to need somebody who is of status to do that. Leo, you are all about expression. You are all about expression. You are the head. You are going to be the leader. You're going to be the one that everybody is looking at. Everybody's want to know and see what you are about. Everybody's want to have a piece of you. And because you are like this, you're not going to want just anybody. You're going to want somebody that is going to show you the way, show you something different that nobody else is talking about before, because you've seen it all already, because everybody's after you. In your lifetime, God has aligned for you to be with an Aquarius. Your partner, your wife, of this lifetime is going to be an Aquarius, someone who's an innovator, someone who has a lot of knowledge, somebody who's going to invent. You're going to be more with a scientific person. You're going to be with a person who's a rebel, someone who goes against the grain, somebody who's not already aligned with society, because society has already shown you everything that it has. So you don't want everything that society has. You're going to want what is against what society has, something that's going to show you something different from it. Innovation of the highest kind. And finally, we're going to have Virgo. Virgo, you are a person of work, working, practice, mastery. You are the one who will put in the most work at it. Anyone else in the chart. You're the most reliable person when it comes down to doing things. You don't have time to BS because your world is all about facts. Your world is all about being accurate. You're a clean, structural household. You don't have a lot of whimsy, wonder in your life. That's why God has aligned you to be with a Pisces. You are going to need a Pisces in your lifetime, because a Pisces is a faith, believer, wonder, excitement beyond everything that you already know. It will let you know that there's something more out there than just your work. It will allow you to expand your work to be in other fields just beyond what you already know. It is going to give you give you what you lack by giving you a different perspective and understanding about this life. Astrology will tell you who you're supposed to be with, despite all of the other categories I've told you here today. And astrology will tell you how long you will be with that person and if that relationship will be good for you or not. You don't need to sit here and worry anymore about what is going to happen next. Who do I need to get with? Must I maintain this status forever? You don't. You just need to know your birth chart. You just need to know who you are and what God has ordained for you to get in this lifetime. And this is written in every book, every Bible, every saying, every case that it could be, every self-help book. All of it is going to be based back on the fundamental basis of your astrology and to know your partner, know how to get your respect. This has been Chris Desir, 100 Agency. I'll be back with part 2 for the men's side of this aspect. Catch y'all next time.